everybody starts from somewhere. That's what I would love for people to know.
With TJ and Plato.
I'm TJ.
And as always, I'm Plato.
Hey, we're here with Tavond. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Tavond Francis. I am an actor. I've been doing acting for about 5 years, coming up on 5 years now. Yeah, I'm a college dropout. I am a former college athlete. And as of now, I am a screen printer and trying to chase my dreams of being an actor.
Excellent.
Nice. What was your sport?
I played football. Yeah, played football.
That's what I thought. Now when you lean back, I can see the football on your shirt.
Oh, yeah. This Kent State, and was where one of my best friends went to school. So I always try to represent all my friends, and whenever I get a chance. So football players, represent football players and all that good stuff.
Nice.
I was in the band.
I wish I can play a musical instrument. That's like one of my dreams. That's such a talent that I do not possess, but I wish I did. It's to be musically inclined is such a blessing. It's amazing. I wish I had that talent.
I wish I had your physicality. I struggle with the beach ball. I mean, my weight, but it's all good.
I'm not a college athlete anymore, so I'm struggling myself. So though you're not alone in that. Yeah, I promise.
I'm not a high school musician either, so we're all good. Perfect. We seem to only talk about this, but Tavond, I believe we met in the circle exercise.
Yeah. I met both of y'all in the circle exercise.
Yep, that's right.
Yep. Jim needs to sponsor us because that's all we talk about.
I know. I think
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We promoted him a few episodes now. In fact, I think you and I did a scene together, right?
This was my my second class, and I believe my second scene was with you.
Yeah, and like the strike where we can't talk about struck projects, we can't really talk about what goes on in the circle. It's so secret.
That's right.
It's just so
every actor should do it. 100%. Yes. I recommend it.
Yeah.
You want to know what happens in the circle exercise? Go take it. Go take the class.
Exactly.
You'll see what all the hype is about.
It's what on-camera acting is all about without being 100%. On camera.
100%.
That's the tagline.
I think our big question, Tavond, and I like finding this out from our friends. How did you get started? A lot of us start in background or stand-in, and then we'll go from there. So how did you get started that way?
So since I was young, I've always been pushed by my parents. They were like, you should do theater, you should do plays and stuff like that in the school. But like I said, I was an athlete, and that's always what I was just focused on. So I always heard that since I was 8, 9 years old. And one summer when I was off from college, I believe this is 2015, so this is 8 years ago. I had a summer off from college, and I started doing background work. I remember my first background gig like it was yesterday. It was for Into the Badlands on AMC, and we had the background. We had some of the best costumes I've ever seen for background. It was like old style, and I had like leather boots on and like old brown leather pants, and it looked amazing. And so I did that, and that was like my first time seeing the outs and in on how film works, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And so since I was in school for another 2 years, for 3 years after that, I would just do background work in the summer. But once I officially left college, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was just kind of like those few months, that first months out of school, I was lost. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And sure enough, my sister, she's been acting and modeling longer than I, and she's my baby sister. And honestly, she's amazing. And she's, like I said, she's been doing it longer than me. The woman who is she's like a family friend, she's an actress and she's like a coach. She saw me and she was like, hey, you have a unique look. Have you ever thought about acting? And I was like, I mean, yeah, but not really. Honestly, that is pretty much how it started right there. I got an agent like a week or two after she told me that, and I started doing auditions, and so that's what I've been doing it for the past 5 years now.
Wow.
Nice.
You hit the goal with the agent.
We've
been asking people, what inspired you to make the jump from background to trying for those speaking parts? And you're like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, like I said, I had never really even thought about it until it was brought to me. And I was like, oh, like it seems unattainable if you don't know better. Mm-hmm. So looking at it, I would have never thought just doing background work, like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, once I got an agent, and then that's when I was able to, start auditioning and really see the ins and outs on how the industry works. That's where it's like, whoa, like it's It's totally different from background work, though. 100%.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
it really is. Same for me. I didn't think I was doing background, and I didn't think that it was attainable. I didn't think it was something I could do. I never had any kind of expectation when I was doing background that I was going to get discovered or whatever. I just thought, well, I didn't think that I had it then. You know, it would have been figured out much earlier in life. So I didn't really think about it. And then on set one time, a guy that I'm still friends with to this day was a principal day player. In between scenes, he said, "Hey, have you thought about it?" And he started encouraging me, and he told me, go get headshots, professional headshots for acting, start taking acting lessons and start learning about it that way. And he gave me a reading list of some books, and I started taking classes, and went from there. Anybody that tells themselves that it's not attainable, they should change their frame of mind, because it is. You just
100%.
You just do it. You just start doing it. You start taking classes and start learning.
Everybody starts from somewhere. That's what I would love for people to know. It's very, very, very rare you're just gonna jump into it and be like, oh, here's a speaking role. Everyone has to start from somewhere. 100%. Don't ever be discouraged if that's what you want to do, because like you said, if you think it's unattainable, it's gonna become that if you just think that. And then once you finally come out and then go chase it, then you start to see it's possible. 100%.
Yeah, you were saying unattainable, and it made me flash on a memory which I haven't thought about in a couple of years. When I was about 13, this production company came to New Orleans, and New Orleans was not big in the industry like it is now. You know? So they put out a call, and like my mom went there and signed up my friend and I, but you had to pay to get your kid in. And she came back, said, y'all got the job? Yay! And that night on the news, productions company is a scam. Devastated me. Yeah. And not only did I feel bad for me, I just accidentally cheated my mom out of money. Right. You know what I mean? Ooh. And looking back on that now, I can see how that kept me from even ever trying to investigate. It's unattainable, you know? Didn't realize it, though. And then I stumbled into it when it came around town, and Kevin Smith got into his movie, and then I was like, ooh, this is fun. Ooh, there's more, you know? I was jonesing for it.
That's a good public service announcement. If an agent or management team tells you that you need to pay to play, that you need to pay them to get into it, it's a scam. And you'll see 100%. Them advertised on social media every so often. There's one out of New York that advertises pretty regularly. You got to pay to sign up with them, and then they'll promote you. You pay them. No, that's not how it works. You 100%. Go get your experience, get your reels, you get your headshots from a photographer. You don't pay an agent for work. The agent finds you work after you've had some experience.
Yeah.
Commission.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's right. They take a percentage of what you earn.
And there's a whole bunch of different scams. Yeah, there's like that one, do you want your kid in movies? Our kids have been in all the Disney stuff. I don't know if it's a scam, and I can't tell you about every one. Each is, you have to look at each one by itself. Easy for me to say. You want to be in my movie? Yeah, they pay you. It is a job, the waste of time drives me out of my mind. So I was 13 and I'm 53, so that's 40 years wasted. Maybe 35. But if I had started early, I wouldn't be where I am now. I know I'm just starting, but I wouldn't be the person I am now, and I probably couldn't have handled it. So for me, it all worked out, but it's still like, oh my God, what a waste of thing.
I exactly know how you feel, 100%.
Cool. I'm just curious, what position did you play in football?
I was a wide receiver. Got good hands, can catch.
Nice. Yeah. I was a lineman.
Oh, you play line?
I did.
What position?
I was a lineman in Pee Wee football.
Pee Wee football. So I was defensive line. I was a down lineman. And I played a little bit of defensive end.
Okay.
And then
that's the boys that get dirty down there.
Yeah. I wasn't really big enough. I wasn't really fast enough. I was strong enough, but was not fast. And walked on in college. I stayed out for spring training my freshman year, and I could have stayed. I could have had a spot on the team if I had stayed, but I had a job, and I knew that I probably wasn't going to be good enough to be a starter and get a scholarship, and it was a balance. I decided not to pursue it after that. It was a blast. I had a great time in spring training, and the guys on the team were, they were really cool. I got along with them, and it was a lot of fun, but work-life balance and probably not having the skills and ability to go further than that, I made the decision to step away and not pursue it further.
I was a walk-on, and I 100% understand it's a totally different world compared to people on scholarship. You're doing everything that they're doing, but you're paying to do it. So it's a different animal. And so it's not easy by any standard. So just the fact that you were able to get to that position is a testament in itself. So that's impressive nonetheless.
Oh, thank you. we're treading carefully with a SAG strike that's going on as we're currently recording this. Do you have any projects that you can talk about that aren't restricted by that?
I haven't done anything SAG-wise lately, but recently I did do 2 commercials. I did the Hawaiian Sweet Rolls commercial with Peyton and Eli. I did that. And the
I
next
saw that.
week, yeah, that was a cool experience to see them film with them. And then the next week, crazy story, because while I was filming for that, they were like, I got a message like, hey, you got an audition, but it's due today. And I'm like, oh, well, I can't do it. I'm filming. And it was like, well, my mom's, because she helps me out with stuff when I'm busy and stuff like that. So she was like, well, I can just submit an old audition that fits the criteria for this audition. We'll see. I said, okay, well, that works. Didn't think nothing of it because, like I said, it's just another, like, here, just submit this type thing. And I get the call at the end of the day and I was like, hey, you booked. I'm like, well, so I booked that. It was a racetrack commercial. And I had to drive to Birmingham, Alabama, and I filmed that. And that was really cool filming. They had me like on a dolly, and they kind of have it. I don't know if y'all seen it, but it's like kind of see like the background in the sky, and I'm just kind of eating breakfast sandwiches like on a little dolly. So yeah, so that was really cool. So that's the 2 things I've done recently, and I've had a few auditions here and there, but for the most part, those are the 2 like big things I've done in the past month month or 2. Yeah, no, it's really good. Able to stay busy while this strike is going on, because I know it's rough for everybody. Just to be able to work during this time is I'm lucky.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. I met Eli once. No, Peyton. I met Peyton once back in the early days when I was still in the military. Early on, I had a side job working security. We worked events, sporting events, nightclubs, some personal protection. And back then he was playing for the Colts and I was in San Diego. So I worked on the field, and a friend of mine's older brother there was a whole bunch of Navy guys that worked there. His older brother was one of the supervisors. He was kind of high up in the company, and he gave me a cush detail. My job was to guard the instant replay machine, and I only had to really do anything if there was a replay. I had to keep the press back if the ref had to get into the machine and look at it. Everybody else had to stand and face the crowd and watch. They couldn't watch the game. I could watch the game. I could watch the crowd. I had a little bit of freedom to move around. But the second part of that job, I had to escort the visiting coach off the field. Me and one other guy had to escort him off the field to the locker room to help keep press or anybody back if he didn't want to stop and talk to anybody. So it was Jim Mora.
Oh, Jim
right?
Mora, okay.
He used to be the Saints coach, right? Mm-hmm. So he was the coach at the time. I escorted him off and just inside the locker room, and I turned around to come back out, and I ran smack into, I think he was number 18.
Yeah.
The middle of his shoulder pads hit me right in the face. And he stopped and looked down. He's like, oh, sorry, bud. And he patted me on the shoulder and went about his way.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Super nice. So, sorry, bud.
Yeah. No, he's tall and he's a nice guy. But I didn't know you served. You were in the Navy?
Yeah, I started in the Navy, then I switched to the Coast Guard.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service. My dad was a Navy. My dad's a Navy veteran as well. So, and he's been stationed in San Diego before. So once I heard San Diego and Navy, it totally made sense.
Nice. Well, thank your dad for his service.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
David, I was sitting here thinking of a question, and you're learning of acting. What would you tell someone, either A, who's never done what we do, or is just starting? What is like one of the keys to breaking down a script, or something that you found that was such an enlightening moment? You were like, oh, that when you share this with them, it'll just blow their minds.
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me think.
Nope, got to do it. No, I'm just kidding. No thinking.
It's not improv, Brian.
I'll use an example for me that helped me. Is my biggest audition I've ever had. I still think about it to this day. It was, since it's long past, I can talk about it. I auditioned for Outer Banks on Netflix, and it was a lot of dialogue. And for me, my biggest thing was, one, getting the character, learning as much as I can about the character in that and what they give me. And also, this had a lot of important little details on how to deliver the line per se. And so what I would do is record myself delivering that line and do it different ways. And for me, I would take in what I felt was best for me. And I feel like once you recite it and you hear yourself reciting it over and over again, for me, that helped me out a lot. So that's like my biggest thing when it comes to breaking down a script for me. But also, I've learned a lot from Jim as well. I like what he said when, like, his biggest thing is you're not playing a character. This is you in an alternate universe or another universe. And when you really put your feet in that character and you become that character, I feel like it's easier. It's, in my opinion, I think it definitely helps out a lot when you try to be something, you have to think about it. But when you're just that, I feel like it comes more natural to you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all in the prep work, building your history,
100%.
Thinking about it for like doing homework, which I always hated.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting that minutia.
That's exactly how I attack it.
And then when you walk in the room for your scene or audition, you let it go and you're just that person.
That's exactly how I do it. Attack it like homework.
A saying about that always kind of stuck with me is from Meisner: acting is living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. And you just have to find your own truth in that particular scene, whatever that scene is about. It's not difficult to come up with something relatable to pretty much any kind of character. Everybody's experienced some kind of trauma. Everybody's experienced some kind of joy, some kind of sadness. You just have to find something that fits that and find your truth in that. Imagine yourself in that person's shoes.
Yeah, and that helps me a lot when I haven't had to do many like super emotional or like sad roles, but just like you said, using stuff from my past that I've been through helped me put out a audition for a more serious and more like sad role, and that really did help me. Just like you said, using stuff that happened to me in my life that I went through and putting it out as that person for that audition definitely helped me.
Yeah. So have you done or thought about doing any kind of stunt work?
Yes, I would love to, because my favorite kind of movies are action movies. Like, so I would love to do that. So I've only done one class, like in regards to that. I did a weapons handling movie course, and that was fun, and I had so much fun. And I would love to. We did like a little bit of like, combat stuff, like hand-to-hand combat stuff, and like how to block, how to move, and then handling firearms. So I would love to, like, my dream is to be in a movie, of course, and do my own stunts. I would love to do that. So yeah, that's a great question. Like I said, my favorite movies are like super action packed films. So I would love to do that.
Nice. That's cool.
I'd love to take a gun course, a weapons course. I took a theatrical combat class at the end of last year. Oh, that was awesome. They put a sword in an old D&D kid's hand. it was fun. So I took it at the level. It was
fun.
Yeah, I didn't take certification. So it was a rapier, a bastard sword, knife, unarmed fighting, dual bladed. It was a trip. It was tough. You know what I mean? Because you think, okay, I'm swinging a sword. That's not too hard. 8-hour days and I was hurting. I'm in terrible shape anyway.
Yeah, I'm about to say, when you see it on screen, it's for however 30 seconds, minute, 2 minutes. And then, but you got to realize you got to do this all day. You have to do that all day.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a commercial I did. It wasn't combat, but just that made me, I was doing yoga. Right? My commercial, I have about 10 seconds of time on this commercial. Did yoga for 3 hours. It was painful. And I was like, God, it's hard work. This is hard work. But it was so fun. So I couldn't imagine. I would love to take like a class just like that. That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Had you done any yoga before that?
No, not a lick. So, and it's funny because that's what they were looking for. Like, I did my callback and they were like, do this position and do this position. I'm like, oh God, I'm not gonna get it. But it was like, at the end, it was like, well, we loved it. We're kind of looking for someone that doesn't know what they're doing. So that was one of the first times that worked out in my favor, not knowing.
Wow, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I'd be in trouble if I had to do yoga.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, it was rough. I got my money's worth. I'll tell you that for sure.
We had to do stretching for that class every day, about 20 minutes.
I can imagine.
By the end of the week, I was okay.
Yeah,
but I'm old and hurting.
That's like stretching plays such a big part in not getting injured and feeling better after your grueling days and stuff like that. So I'd imagine that helped out a lot.
Yeah.
I filmed an independent a couple months back, and I knew there was going to be a little bit of physicality to the role. And I asked my coach, how do I prepare for that? He said, do some yoga, do some stretching, do some yoga, get your core strong, used to it. Because I was going to have to take like a body check from a guy. And we had to put him up against a wall a few times. And for the younger guys, it was not that big of a deal, but I'm a little bit older, so it was challenging. It was physically challenging, but it was a fun scene.
That sounds something I would like to do. Just getting into that right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun scene. I can't wait for it to come out.
Oh no, I can't wait to see it now. I'm kind of excited that you said that.
I want more questions. I want to dive deep into your soul, man.
Hey, dive away. I'm here.
And of course, trying to dance around projects and can't talk about Struck, can't talk about future things. How do we do this? So if you can think about a point, maybe it wasn't that bad for you. Your lowest point where you're like, what the hell am I doing trying to be an actor? And I'll give you an example of mine. In Jim Gleason's class, and we just talked about this with somebody, there are 3 levels of his application, premier, intermediate, advanced. And I made it up to intermediate, and I stuck there for like a year and a half. And of course, I want to be an actor. And then the depression kind of hits like, man, I'm not really progressing. Because you don't see it. Like if you take a class every week, you may be getting better each time, but you're not seeing it because it's not a big step. And I was frustrated because I wanted so much more. I'm not looking at the little, and all that stuff. So I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm going to have to go back to just being a janitor. What was your lowest point? What made you want to quit? What made you depressed?
Ooh. This is such a good question. So for me, it's actually 2. I have 2 moments.
Okay.
My first one was early when I started audition. So like I said, when I started in 2018, pre-COVID. So my first auditions I had a lot of in-person auditions for some, bigger TV shows and movies and stuff like that. And God, it was so nerve-wracking for me. Because like I said, I'm fresh in the game and I'm kind of being thrown into the fire. And I remember I had an audition with like 3 or 4 words, not many words. And I go in there and I remember I remember I didn't say one of the lines correctly. And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, do I really want to do this? Like, it's so nerve wracking and I can't even get these little lines down. So like after I left there, I was like, dude, do I really want to do this? But it kept going. It kept getting better for me. So I kept getting auditions, and then honestly reassurance from people around me were like, no, like you this is you, stick with it. You're early, you know what I'm saying? So that helped me a lot. And actually my second time was getting towards the back end of COVID. So like things started opening up back more, and then we was able to start filming and stuff like that. And I wasn't getting it was still dry. Like I wasn't getting any auditions or anything for the most part. And I'm like, I'm just gonna like go get a regular job and just start find another career. And it even came to, so like the job I work at now, it's very flexible. Like I can get up and go whenever I want. It's just me and another person running a business. So it's just 2 of us. And he's pretty much like family to me. So I'm very lucky that I'm in that position to work like that right now. I was going to get like a real career with, better paying, with benefits and stuff like that. And just like kind of just put acting on the back burn. But I talked to my mom and she was like, we're going to switch agents, because I was with this was my first agency I was with, and it was like, we're gonna switch agents and we're gonna see how it works. So I ended up turning down this job opportunity, and then 2 weeks later, after switching my agency, I booked my first co-star role. So like I said, I go from thinking like, oh, I'm done with it, until 2 weeks later, it totally turned around for me. So those 2 were the roughest moments for me. And honestly, just having that reassurance from other people is honestly what got me through it, to be honest. Because if it was just being by myself, I probably would have just been like, oh, whatever, like I'm done. But yeah, so definitely grateful for the people around me, because it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now.
At least not about this.
It had to be pretty scary.
Oh, 100%. It's frustrating when you're not getting to where you want to be, and I know it's like part of us and humans to want that instant gratification, but stuff doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
And I just had to wait it out, and I've been grateful to have a lot of opportunities in the industry so far that, most people would love to have. So I'm so grateful.
Yeah. You have a really good attitude about it too. We were talking with Hick Jeremy a few weeks ago, and he said that's one of the most important things, is having a good attitude.
Yeah, definitely. He knows, but that's definitely true. If you're kind of moping around or like upset. It's definitely it's gonna play a part. It's gonna leak into what you're doing, and it's gonna be like, hey, like you're feeling like this, and then you're not gonna want to do it. But you have the attitude, like, hey, I can do this. I'm gonna do this, and I feel like it's all gonna work itself out.
Yeah,
that's really good that you have the support structure with your mom there to give you advice and help you make those decisions. I've just been thinking in the back of my head when you were talking about switching agencies that couldn't have been an easy decision to make either.
No,
I would
not at
imagine
all.
you had a lot of second guessing going on there during that process.
Yeah, because this was like the first agency that gave me pretty much, I was a nobody, a chance. And if it wasn't, but luckily I had the recommendation of the person I told you about was like a family friend. She's an actress and a coach. She's the one who pretty much vouched for me to get on. And they gave me an opportunity, like I said, with nothing. And I was able to do a few things from that. Nothing too crazy, but still the opportunity that first agency given me was still huge. And I felt, like you said, you just have that, it's like the tug on you that you're going to have to make this decision. Even though it is a business decision, it's still personal and still affected. It still affects you. So it was definitely rough sending that letter off that I was switching agency, but it's paid off. It's paid off a lot for me making that decision.
Yeah.
Cool. When you brought up the legend Hick Jeremy, so we got to ask about your beard.
Yeah, X away.
What TJ had asked him, what would it take for you to shave off your beard? What kind of role, what kind of money, what would they have to give you to shave your beard for something on TV or a movie?
Honestly, for me, if it's a speaking role of any kind, it can go. Honestly, I'll do it just for the love of the art. I would do it. It's funny enough, that racetrack commercial, they were like, "Hey, like, would you trim your beard?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what does trimming entail?" Because the pay was good. So I was like, at that point, I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely consider it. But luckily, all they asked for was a trim. But as far as a role, yeah, if you want me to speak and you want this going, it's going. I can always throw it back. And I haven't, like, mine's not as long as TJ, so I don't feel like I have as invested in as much as he has or Hick has. So I feel like it'll be a lot easier for me to let mine go, as opposed if I had like a luscious one like those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, wouldn't take that much, but it'll still take a little bit of wiggle.
Yeah, you get rid of it. Need a little green or a good juicy roll. You got to be careful when they say trim. I did background.
I know, right?
So I walked in and
just a little off the top.
I had COVID for Christmas in 2021. Yay. And then I just didn't feel like shaving. I was out for 3 weeks, And then after that, I got a role on this show, working background. And then, so it was my first time walking in with hair, because I had always been completely bald and completely beardless. So I'm walking in, I walk up to makeup and the hair. I was like, okay, what do I do? She goes, go to makeup. I was like, all right. And she goes, what can we do with it? I said, well, I don't want to lose it all, just a little trim. And I didn't specify. I sit down in the chair and I'm not facing the mirror. The mirror is this way. And if you picture the clippers, you would go up and down with them. Well, they were coming at me with the blade. So I'm like, and I really hadn't shaved before. And I pictured, when these hairs start getting curly and crazy, I thought they're like just neatening. Wow, that's amazing what they're doing. And then they turn me towards the mirror, excuse me. And all of this is gone. Actually, the chin too. I was left with the cheesy guy mustache, which fit the role, but I was like, okay.
No. Oh,
but
no,
I was on camera a lot. I wasn't featured, but there was so few of us. And I knew somebody who was like an AD. Hey, we need somebody for the role. Go get Brian. Hey, walk here. And we were by a camera. And we've told people about going back to one. So one was on either side of the camera, like I'm showing you on, this is just the audio version. I'm telling everybody. So 3 guys on each side of the camera. And when the signal gives, we walk forward and you see the back of our heads and we just keep going. So as I'm walking up, I want to be on camera every second that I can, but I try not to be a jerk. 100%. So this guy was walking ahead of me and I was like, hey, you want to go first? No, man, I don't want to lead. All right. So I did.
I'll do it.
Because what I knew is even if they're just seeing the back of our heads, they're going to turn the camera. And they're going to see our faces, Now, is that going to get me any money? Is that going to get me a role? No, but I'm going to be seen. And that makes the long day of background worth it for me. And I was all over.
Same here.
Yeah. It was cool. I'll tell you which one it was off the air.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds cool.
In a way, I'm jealous of y'all for having shorter beards. Once I grew this, once I already had my look, when I started getting into background stuff. And most of the background things I got picked for was for my look. And it was usually they wanted somebody scary looking. Let's just be honest. That's what they wanted. But I feel like there's a lot of things that I can't do or can't submit for because of my look. If my beard were shorter, it would be an easier decision to take it off for something. I can't audition for police officers or paramedics or firefighters or anybody that's clean cut. And there's a lot of those that come out
No, that is
because
true.
of my look. I auditioned for a podcast a while back for a guy that was playing a police officer. And it was fun because I've never auditioned for something like that before. And I was this serious guy that was being kind of a jerk to people. But it was kind of fun to step into something different that I've never tried before.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I would do it different, but I don't know.
So what would it take for you to chop your stuff off?
So, Hick put his number out. If y'all want to hear that, go check out the episode. But, initially I thought mine would be higher than his.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would do it for $10,000 or $20,000. If it was for something, if it was for a significant role, I would probably consider it. If it was something recurring or if it was something in a big Hollywood, SAG blockbuster,
right?
Something, I would
definitely.
I would consider it more. But something for peanuts, for a small role, an under five.
Commercial now.
I definitely understand that. Seriously, it's an investment. I don't know how long you've been having yours. I've been having mine for 7 years now, and I don't even remember me without one. So, and like I said, it's not nearly as long as you guys. So, but yeah, no, I definitely understand. It's like it becomes a party.
Yeah, for sure. I retired in April of 2015, and I stopped shaving and stopped cutting my hair.
Okay.
Right after my retirement.
So you're going 8 years, 8.5 years in.
Yeah. So I cut my beard down one time to about maybe just a little bit longer than what yours is. And I cut my hair once. I cut my hair really short, but I donated it. I cut it and donated it to, it wasn't the one that a lot of people mention.
Locks
I'm
of
drawing a
Love.
blank on the name. Yeah, it wasn't that because it was one that actually donates wigs to kids.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you did that.
I donated it to one that a friend of my daughter's had gotten a wig from when she had cancer. And they got 4 15-inch ponytails off of my head.
Jeez.
That was, I guess that was right before COVID, maybe 6 months before COVID. And I started letting it grow again. Maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. I've been letting it grow since then.
You did have me worried in your story because I just couldn't see kids walking around with a beard like yours.
No. Hair.
I'm the coolest kid in high school.
And the reason I cut the hair then, I wanted to cut it and donate it before I started getting too much more gray hair in my head because they won't take the gray hair because it won't hold the dye.
Gotcha.
There was one organization that made wigs for women that were breast cancer survivors, and they wanted some gray hair for maybe older ladies. But then right about that time, and I can't remember the name of it, they stopped taking real hair. They had started making synthetic hair that was really close to the real thing. So I donated to the other one. But now there's too much gray in it to donate, I think.
Wow. Cool. That's awesome that you did that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, we're coming to the end. I got one last question for you, Tavon. I don't think we've asked it already.
Yeah, fire away.
Hopefully that we didn't ask and I forgot with my old man brain. What's your secret wish? What's the role you would do just about anything to get? And I know we can't really say if it's something that's being struck. Maybe, there are space knights with glowing swords. A different way to say it, you know what I mean? But
that's such a good question. It's not really a role. Let me use an example. For me, I would love to be in a Tarantino movie. That's like my dream is to be in a Tarantino film. So honestly, like I said, I'm a big action guy. So I would love to be like a gung-ho anti-hero type role. I would love to play something like that. I would love to be in an action-packed film to where like I'm one of the center main pieces.
Yeah.
Tarantino, I feel like does that pretty well with those types of guys. So I would love to do that.
I could see you doing it.
I could too.
Thank you.
Little caveat we can add. An actor you would kill to work with.
Ooh.
Oh,
It doesn't have to be limited to one.
Okay, I was about to say I'll give you my top 5.
Excellent.
Christoph Waltz.
Mm.
He's one of my favorite actors. I would love to work with Leonardo. I would love to work with Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to say Viola Davis probably for a 5.
That's a good top 5.
That's a good list.
I would love to work with them. Obviously, to me, the best actors. And I think Christoph Waltz and Edward Norton are 2 of the most underrated actors, in my opinion. So I would love to work with them for sure.
You can't go wrong with Denzel.
I feel like all of those, there would be so much to learn from all of those.
Oh, God. Like, I love seeing actors, like watching their interviews just to see. Because I feel like the art of acting is so much more deeper and complex than like surface level than what people see. So just to talk to people that's played in so many different movies and different roles, just to hear their experience and let them give me some knowledge on the stuff that they experience and stuff like that. I just think it would be literally priceless, obviously. So
that was a really good answer. I just marked the clip right there. I can mark it in certain spots, and there's others, but that was a mark right there.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's your advertising.
Thank you.
That's right. Thanks for listening to NOLA Film Scene with TJ and Plato. We were here tonight with Tavond Francis. Tavond, thanks for joining us.
No, thank you guys for having me. I had a blast. I literally enjoy this kind of conversation, and whenever you guys want me on, I'll literally come on. Like, I really enjoy this stuff. So thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to come on and speak with y'all.